Well, I would say without any hesitation, no, it's not a good idea to dig out a swimming pool by yourself without any sort of engineering evaluation on this. So recently there was a TikTok video that then passed around pretty well, and a lot of people had lots of comments on it. Where a guy in a newer home, I'd say a poured concrete foundation, had a couple kids and wanted to turn his basement, rather than just a kind of a play space, maybe a media room for their family, into an indoor swimming pool. So it was a time-lapse video of him jackhammering out the floor and digging down about 4 feet below the floor level, and then putting in some piping and basically building an in-ground swimming pool in his home. And then to which he said the city came by and put a stop work on it, and he tried to fool them by turning it into a golf simulator area. But the reality is that the city had every bit of right to put a stop work on that kind of a project. We get this question a lot, not digging out a foundation for a swimming pool, but a lot of people who want to dig their foundation down to get a little bit more height in the house. Maybe they have an older home, or maybe they have a house where they have about 7 or 8 feet of height between the floor and the ceiling. And they want to have like a nice 9 or 10 foot ceiling downstairs, really make the room feel a lot bigger, give you a little bit more opportunity to make it a functional living space for a variety of different things down there. And the reality is that, and we've talked about this in other podcasts, is that digging out a foundation is incredibly dangerous. You have to remember that when a house, even if it's a newer house, when a house is set on a plot, they've compacted the soils in and around that area to be able to accept the footing. And that footing is going to be a strip that runs all the way around the perimeter, wherever the walls are going to be. And then the walls get landed on the perimeter, and then the floor gets poured over that. So while the floor doesn't really hold any weight there and doesn't really add any structural support to the overall house, having the floor dug down and then digging the soil down really can make the foundation become unstable. It is similar to people who have beachfront property and they're dealing with soil erosion of the ocean coming up. It's just on the interior if you're doing something like this. So, there's a fancy engineering term for it. It's called the cone of compression. And if you think of how the footing is a rectangle, and then below the rectangle is a triangle, that is where the soil gets compacted and takes the load of the house, of the tens of thousands of pounds of concrete and house and living area and people and furniture and everything else. So that soil is taking it. And when you cut out that soil from one side, you've totally destabilized the footing and the wall itself. Now, there is a way to do this. It's called underpinning, and it involves a lot of excavation work. It involves a lot of engineering work, and it also involves putting rebar reinforced concrete under the footing and on the sidewalls. So handy homeowner there with the jackhammer and a shovel, I'm sure did not have the engineering background or the approved plans by the city to be able to safely support his house. So this brand new house of his with his nice swimming pool feature in the basement, while not only illegal for the city, can also be very dangerous in there. So even though it's a cool video and it's cool to see somebody put a swimming pool in their basement, the reality is it opens up to a lot of structural concerns to a house. So whether it's digging it out to get a little bit more height, or in this crazy event of trying to dig out a swimming pool, the answer is always going to be, get an engineer involved. Make sure that your soil can take this type of this undercutting, and making sure that the house is properly supported during the process, because walls do come in, footings do slip away, and houses can come crumbling down. And it'd be a terrible thing to happen in the event of trying to put a swimming pool in your basement. So the moral of the story is before you start jackhammering out your basement, talk to somebody first who knows what they're doing, because in all likelihood you don't know what you're doing with it.